On today's show, the San Diego Padres win their first series out of the break against their trade rival, Washington Nationals, plus responding to some of your comments. We're in a good mood. New haircut, everything. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Padres, your daily San Diego Padres podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Padres podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for Monday, July 21st. As always, I am your host with sometimes the most, Javier Reyes, and I've been covering the team for almost 6 years now for not just this podcast, but also various other outlets, including JustBaseball.com, chief among them. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Go check that out, and go check me out on the socials, Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javipedio, Javiipieno. You can also follow me on Javios, Javiios, on TikTok if that is your thing. Gonna start posting more short form content. We are back. I've been in a little bit of a fudge, a little bit of a rut, I guess, a creative mental joy rut. Let me tell you, folks. And the Padres kind of brought me back this weekend, and we're gonna talk about that, guys. Recapping the series from this weekend, first out of the All-Star break, what was, in my opinion, a series that, while it didn't go totally their way, there was just some really cool, I think, moments, and especially against their but a team that has so many former Padres on it. I think it felt really good, and then we're, of course, going to get into the mailbag, dive into some of your questions and comments. I'm recording this episode a little bit earlier than I usually do for the Monday mailbag, so feel free to keep sending me stuff, and I might answer them for Tuesday's episode, so feel free to do that. But guys, let's not waste any more time, man. Let's talk about the games. Let's talk about yesterday's game first, though. The Padres winning this game and the series by a score of 8-1 against someone that you wouldn't have expected, Mackenzie Gore. The Padres go nuts heading into this game. Let me be very clear. Heading into this game, this man was rocking a 3.02 ERA. He has some of the best strikeout stuff in all of Major League Baseball. I believe he actually might rank top 5, at least in the National League. He's been excellent. Like, he has really grown into being like a number one quality starter, which is unfortunately what we hoped that he would have been for San Diego. But the Padres tag him for 8 runs in just 2 1/3 innings. Amazing, amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. It starts early, right? We start off the game big time. And speaking of good things, this weekend that we needed to see, we get a Tatis walk, we get an Arraez single, then we get a Manny Machado walk, and then who but W.B. Mason? No, I'm kidding. Who but Xander Bogaerts hitting a grand slam, their second grand slam of the weekend. We'll get into the next one after that. Just huge for Xander, man. Like, everything that he does is always huge. Whenever he has a multi-hit game, or frankly, whenever he just drives in a run, it's huge. Not just because of, him needing to be better for this team, giving all the money that he's owed, all that stuff, and the role that he needs, but also just for his confidence, I think. There are times, and it actually happened in Saturday's game, which we'll get to in a second, where I see him hit the ball decently, like maybe not the best in the world, and of course it lands right into an outfielder's glove, or an infielder makes a good snag. He is, I think, in his batting average department, going to probably go up a little bit. On the season right now, he's hitting .265. I think maybe that might be where it sticks, right? But .267 right now with a .344 on base, that's good. And that's actually similar to what he had his first year with the Padres. The problem is the slugging at .378, right? But .722 OPS, he's up there now. The grand slam is huge. Love to see it from Bogaerts. And the Padres basically didn't look back after that. Jake Cronenworth drives in a run. Gavin Sheets drives in a run. Elias Diaz hits a 2-run tall run. You know it's going the Padres' way when the catchers do literally anything from the offensive side of things. So great stuff from Elias Diaz. Just a great game all around for the Padres. Tatis didn't do much in this one, 2 Ks, unfortunately, but he did draw a walk, which is what he's been doing for what feels like forever. Manny Machado, crazy game, 3 walks and goes 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored, so shout out to him. Jackson Merrill did not make it in this game. Apparently he had like some sort of illness, so instead it was Bryce Johnson, who does get 2 hits in this one. Strikes out twice as well, but he gets 2 hits. He's hitting .304. He's not slugging all that much, but he's kind of been by far already the best like outfield, left field sort of replacement. I know that he played a little bit of center and right field, I get that, but in general, He's actually been okay. Speaking of left field, Gavin Sheets 1 for 5 in this one with an RBI though. Xander actually played DH in this one, and Jose Iglesias played short. He went 2 for 5. Just a really great offensive game for the Padres, and a pitching matchup that you were really looking forward to. And what's funny is it was not that, right? Like Nick Pivetta, he showed up 6 innings in this one earned run only. His first start out of the break, obviously, on 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks. Cannot emphasize enough how golden he has been, man. Just really, really good stuff from Nick Pivetta. But tagging Mackenzie Gore, I think that what made me so pleased with this weekend is number one, just the grand slams that happened, the driving and runs to an extent, the fact that it was Bogaerts, right? The fact that we got some good plate appearances from some players on this team, and I think it was really good to see some really good starting pitching performances. And lastly, it's the Nationals, and I don't have beef with the Nationals outside last year when they tried, coming after Profar, right, in a very disingenuous way, in my opinion, a very bad faith sort of thing, which is how all baseball fights tend to start when they start enforcing unwritten rules. But I think it's more so, it's not that I want to beat them because I'm like, I hate the Nationals. I have nothing against them. Actually, a really good friend of mine is a Nationals fan. He's awesome. Rooting for him. Shout out to my guy if you're out there listening. But I think that the bigger thing for this is you don't want to be losing to the team that's took all your guys. You know what I mean? So I'm not like talking smack to them because I think that's weird. They're still in a rebuild. And bottom line is they really did get a lot. They pilfered the Padres farm system. But in terms of just like a sigh of relief, like you don't want to be getting roasted online. Like, wow, they took all your players and took your lunch money and shoved you in a locker and are kicking you down the standings just for fun, and they're not even good yet. You don't want that happening, but thankfully it did not happen this weekend. We're gonna continue talking about the rest of the series, including the one loss that the Padres did have, and in my opinion, just another bad moment for one of the pitchers on this team that I got to apologize. I was dead wrong about. But first, everybody, we gotta take a second to hear about one of our sponsors. And do you know who that sponsor is, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, you better by now, folks. It is Supply House. Because whether you're in need of plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, have no fear. Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now, it's your turn. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Go check it out. And just like that, everybody, we are back thriving and vibing here in segment number 2 on this podcast. Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javapeno, JAVIIPENO. If you'd like your questions, comments, or concerns addressed. And again, because I recorded this one a little bit early, you guys are free to reach out more. Probably going to do that this week. And I need your questions this week because I'll be traveling a little bit. That's right, everybody. I'm going to be in San Diego again, going to the game on the 28th. So if there's any friends, like listeners, I should say, if you guys are at that game, feel free to reach out to me if you want to say hi or something like that. I doubt anyone's going to be out there. That'd be crazy. I'm not, Don Orsillo or anything, but feel free. Let's talk about the next game, though. The one game that the Padres do lose in this series, and it did show some frustration, don't get me wrong. While I was happy for all the reasons I illustrated in the first segment, this was an unfortunate game for the Padres. They lose this one. Yu Darvish gets the start, and he clearly is still rusty, right? But 5 innings, 3 earned runs on 5 hits, it's not that bad, really. He walked 1, struck out 1. He's still trying to get it together, right? C.J. Abrams had a sacrifice hit in this one. Drew Millis had a single to drive into. Like, I don't think it's been all that particularly awful for Yu Darvish. He's clearly just trying to get loose, trying to get back into the swing of things. So don't expect anything major from him for now. But as the season goes along, maybe he starts warming up, gets a little bit, like, healthier and all that sort of stuff. He can be a decent, like, pitcher for this team and help them out with some of their depth things. And certainly someone that I would bet on being better. Not for sure will be better, but I'd bet on being better than some of the stuff they've had in the back end of the rotation, from the Kolek Kingdom suffering major blows to Randy, ridiculous Randy, and then even Ryan Bergert, who I've liked lately. But still, it's just another piece to have, and that is huge down the stretch in baseball, man. Just having guys almost matters more than having great players. Does that make sense? I might be just talking out of my butt. But in this game, not amazing. But for the Nationals, unfortunately, Mitchell Parker really doing some work. It feels like the no-names always kill the Padres sometimes. 6 innings for him, only 2 runs allowed, 1 walk at 4 Ks. The Padres actually did tie it at one point. Luis Arraez doing the tying hit in this one. 2 for 3 in this game with an RBI. Arraez has looked a lot better lately, man. Like, he really has. He had 2 multi-hit games this weekend. He went 1 for 5 in yesterday's game, right? But he's just looked okay, right? He actually drew a walk in Friday's game, by the way, which we'll get to in a second, which is rare for him. He's looked a lot better, and I just would like it if there were other players that can get some more hits other than him, because there are some players in this lineup, Tatis, Jackson Merrill, Xander Bogaerts, that I'm like, dang, like, why is it that Arraez, I feel like I almost trust a little bit more than you to get the hits sometimes. It's a little bit close, but nonetheless, unfortunately, bottom of the 5th inning, they get that score, and then Nathaniel Lowe hits a home run off of our guy, Yuki Matsui, man. I mean, it's just so tough to see this guy. I need to reiterate, this is a guy who had a 3 ERA after a series against the Dodgers. And then ever since then, that series, by the way, June 19th, now in July 19th, 1 month later, he's rocking a 5.06 ERA. He's just completely untrustworthy. He doesn't strike anybody out, and it's gotten worse as things have gone along. He's like reverse Ultron. He's like reverse the Borg. Instead of adapting and getting better, God, that was so nerdy. Instead of getting better, he is just constantly like, it's like he gets worse as he gets more information and more experience. So just really bad for Yuki Matsui, and I was dead wrong. I got to apologize. I thought that he was going to be a sneaky weapon that would improve greatly, and he somehow got 10 times worse than when he was last year, and I would kill for the Yuki Matsui from last year, right? I feel like a lot of you can agree. So bad game for the Padres. They're unable to score. The big moment, though, in this game, kind of like their last chance. Everyone kind of equally left runners on base, but a bad game for Manny Machado. 2 strikeouts, 6 left on base for him. In the bottom of the 8th, I believe it was. Or I'm sorry, the top of the 8th inning. The Padres get lucky. Right, Tatis draws a walk, Luis Arraez sacrifices, but actually makes it, I believe. Did he make it? No. Was it the top of the 7th inning? Which is the inning that they completely biffed? I forgot which inning it was, but they at one point have 2nd and 3rd with nobody out, and they're unable to drive in any runs, right? Machado has that big strikeout. Gavin Sheets hits into a fielder's choice, and Tatis is out with the grounder at 3rd base. Not the best base running decision by him. I thought he almost got away with it and got back. It would have been really like a hellacious inning of defense for the Nationals if he had survived that one, but he didn't. Bogaerts lined out. I'm sorry, not Bogaerts. Bryce Johnson then came in, and then Bogaerts lined out. Just not good stuff, man. Like, they left people on base. And look, I'm not going to get freaked out because it's rare that Manny Machado hasn't produced for this team. Right, like, he has been the run producer for this team, at least in terms of driving them in. Tatis has been getting on base and scoring runs, but not necessarily driving them in, and Manny's been excellent. So, yes, this was a bad game for him. Yes, he kind of blew it. It was a bad at-bat, too, in the top of the 8th inning. Just 3 straight swings down on the plate. Wasn't able to make contact, so that was unfortunate. But I'm not freaking out, right? I like that at least Yu Darvish didn't get killed. Every Yu Darvish start, you just got to hope that he just can be okay. And I thought that he was okay, all things considered, right? But, man, Yuki Matsui, man. My Lord almighty, guys. But let's talk about Friday's game really quickly. This game delivered the best sign of the weekend. And you guys already know what I'm talking about. It is the devilishly delinquent Dylan Cease, folks. But he showed the heck up, man. Dare I say one of the best starts of the season for him. 5 1/3, so he didn't last super long into the game, but it's okay. I don't care, right? With Dylan Cease, I just want you to produce good 5 innings. I don't care if it's 4 innings sometimes with the way he's been pitching this season. 5 1/3, only 4 hits, 0 walks, 0 runs, 10 strikeouts, looking awesome. I thought it was going to fall apart. One of my good friends, shout out to Drew if he's listening for any reason. He was at the game, and he was like, I'm getting nervous, because it always starts out great with Dylan Cease, right? We've seen this time and time again. He gets strikeouts, right? Bottom of the 1st inning, 3 straight strikeouts. Bottom of the 2nd inning, he gets 2 strikeouts, right? then bottom of the 3rd, he gets a strikeout and 2 groundouts, and you're like, okay, here it comes. Luis Garcia gets the single. But then, thankfully, they get a little bit lucky with Luis Garcia Jr. get caught stealing, and then he gets a strikeout of Nathaniel Lowe. Then he gets 2 more of Riley Adams and Dalen Lyle. I know it sounds like I'm making up names for people who aren't familiar with the Nationals roster, but good stuff overall. And in this game, it was a close one. So they kind of needed this great start from Dylan Cease. He does go scoreless, right? But the Padres also, they only got sacrifice hits, one from Cronenworth and one from Elias Diaz. And then CJ Abrams hits a home run, of all people. Remember what I was talking about the first segment? You don't want to get killed by the guys that used to be ours. And I was like, oh, dear God. And Padres Twitter's losing their minds, obviously. But thankfully, Elias Diaz, he drives in another sacrifice. And then Manny Machado hitting the grand slam to put them ahead 7-2, winning them the game, of course. Love to see it. Love to see some blowout wins, too. Because this bullpen has been tested. I know that they're rested a little bit now, post All-Star break. No thanks to Dave Roberts, for those who were watching that game. But it's just nice. And I know that the Nationals are a bad team, but this Padres team for the last, 20 games has won all their games by, 1 or 2 runs, it feels like, right? So it's just a nice series. Love what we saw from Dylan Cease. Love the grand slam. Slam Diego back. Absolutely love to see it, especially from Bogaerts. I knew what Manny's capable of, but Bogaerts, love to see it. Hopefully he can just be that average player, and I think he can. I don't know about this season, but down the line, tinker with some stuff, I think he can. This is why I'm not a fan of trading prospects to get rid of him. Just a good weekend. And then 2 great starts from 2 starting pitchers, Dylan Cease and Nick Pivetta. Good start, right? And they are going to have to continue the momentum because we don't know what the heck this team is going to do at the trade deadline. It's going to be a big question. I have no idea at this point. I've given up. I am pro keeping the prospects and just making minor upgrades, but they've got Miami and then St. Louis and then the Mets. I will be at one of the Mets games, the Monday the 28th game, but it's going to be tricky, man. It's going to be tricky. Truly. I don't know how this is going to go because they could very well lose to Miami. Miami's actually not as bad as you would think. Got a couple of good studs on there, let me tell you. And then the Cardinals, also not as bad as you think, even if they've been playing worse lately. So we're going to have to see how it goes. But speaking of trade deadline, you guys have your takes many times about the trade deadline. And I love answering your questions and comments. And we're going to read some of those from the YouTube comments that we received over the weekend in just a second. But first, a word from one of our sponsors. And that sponsor is the title of the one you heard at the top of this podcast, guys. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're about baseball under the lights, basketball under the lights, golf on the green, tennis on the court, or high-stakes soccer action, whatever you're into, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can do that. You can get in on the game while your friends are out being losers, getting sunburned at the beach and getting, sweaty from jogging, or what is it that dorks do during the summer? Whatever other thing you could come up with, that's what you don't want to be, and FanDuel's going to help you out with that, guys. And they've got all different sorts of daily promotions, so you can always check the app every other day, the website, whatever you want to do. Fast payout. Makes every game feel like a must-watch event, and it's great. And if you're new to FanDuel, don't worry. New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Go check it out. And just like that, everybody, we are cruising and boozing, vibing, thriving, whatever, into the last segment of this year podcast. I don't know what that was. Of course, remember, if you want some of your questions answered and responded to, remember, you can follow me on Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO, or just check out the YouTube the way all of you did for today. Let's start first with my man, Phoenix Ash, who says, oh, and P.S., following up on what he said last time, All-Star Game was better when the players wore their uniforms and fought for home field. Sorry, not sorry. It's just, I think that there's a little, I would argue it's 40, maybe 30-70 on we should bring back the home field advantage versus we shouldn't. I don't feel like it's that crazy of a take. I think some people like the uniqueness of it. I could be wrong. And then in terms of the jerseys, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a compromise here. Maybe we have a similar jersey, but everyone gets the different hat for their own team. I don't know. I could be wrong. Moving on, though, to the next question. Not even a question, but just a comment from @Lebowski619. He says, I am a pessimist about our second half chances, but I dig the high energy Javi. Thank you, man. I appreciate it very much. I think that where my optimism for the Padres comes in is just make the playoffs. right? I don't think that this is a World Series team right now. I don't know what would make it a World Series team, but that doesn't mean you don't try. There have been plenty of teams that have won over the last decade plus that were just fringe decent teams that ended up making the World Series. The Giants had 3. I'd argue 3 Giants World Series were all they were never really like even one of the 5 best teams in the playoffs. You know, Washington Nationals from a few years back, like it can absolutely happen. So definitely that's what I'm looking at, is I just think that it's a lowercase g pretty, good team that has its moments, although it is frustrating and should be a lot better in certain areas. At ECWNWWF says, can't wait for the second half, San Diego, because the Dodgers are going to down to yellow and brown. That's what's in. Manny's gonna cruise and Otani's gonna lose. That's what's in. I just love that comment. Ever since that video, that cursed video, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll find it on Twitter all over. It was these random, like, somewhat, maybe like mid-40s gentlemen who were trying to do some cutesy song thing. And look, we've had a couple of tough songs release, I think, with the Padres every now and then. We've also had some great songs. That was not necessarily one of them, though. It was really tough, but it kills me. I still have friends that just go, Manny's gonna cruise wherever I am, and it honestly still makes me laugh. Absolutely very roastable thing. That and the video of the Padres fans in the streets of Gaslamp after the wild card win, like dancing in the streets, like going crazy, and everyone's like they're acting like they won the World Series. That video is also pretty funny. So hey, look, we can take jokes every now and then. An actual question though, at Charlie C5449 says the Padres should trade Robert Suarez for a bat. They have the bullpen depth to do that. I'm not against the idea of trading a bullpen arm. We actually talked about that a few weeks ago. My everydayers would know. I think that they have a surplus of talent there. I think they have some guys in the minors, your Alec Jacobs, your Tyson Neighbors, that could be interesting really quickly. You see David Morgan coming up and being pretty good. Maybe they can get something out of Sean Reynolds. There's definitely some bullpen depth, and I'm not opposed to it. But I just don't know what Suarez's value is, given his contract situation. I think teams would rather have an Estrada or a Jason Adam, someone that they would have like a couple more years of control. And also, I don't know. I just don't know what you're going to get for Suarez. Remember, Suarez has been a little bit shaky for about a month and a half now, so that's just me. We'll have to see, though. Moving on to another comment. If they can get a little more hitting going, they'll be fine. Tatis has to get going. He's been awful. For him, he has, at least. Hopefully he's not injured. That's from Iberenskin. I don't know how to say your name exactly, but I agree. Look, Tatis's offense is basically like that he's an amazing base runner and he walks a lot. Like, that's kind of a down way to put it, but he didn't have, like, that incredible of a weekend, right? We talked about this, right? Like, not that insane of a weekend for him. It was mostly Bogaerts and Manny were the stars, I feel like, this weekend. He only had 1 hit this whole weekend. But he also had 3 walks. So that's the thing. I'm still hopeful that he can turn it around, but I would be remiss to act like I know for sure that this guy's going to get better just because the advanced, peripheral stats and the baseball savant page looks good. Rama Murray says if we get strong performances from King and Darvish and Cease, we could be okay, definitely make the playoffs. If those 3 are good, they're a team to be feared in the playoffs. Absolutely. Absolutely. I really do. Their rotation when healthy, King, Cease, Pivetta, Darvish, those 4 in whatever order they go by, that's absolutely a rotation that can win a World Series. My problem is the rest of the team. Moving on, though, and I love this comment from at Adrian Ramirez 4137. Who cares about Roki? Seems like a bust. I worry more about second half Snell in reference to the Dodgers and whether we can compete with them. Look, the Roki Sasaki thing, I'm not here to make fun of him. I actually defended him on a show a while back because I thought it was absolutely absurd for people to make fun of him for showing emotion and tearing up after a bad start. I thought that was pathetic. I thought it was weak. I thought it was trivial in a lot of ways, just to be zoning in on this. I think it is pathetic because of what we know about the mental health epidemic in this country and across the world, especially with men who don't know how to open up. I don't know why I'm getting deep all of a sudden, but that's what I'm saying. And I thought that was weak. That being said, we don't like Roki for some reasons, Padres fans. We feel like he kind of shortchanged us, or at least kind of misled us, I should say. But here's what he is. He's a reminder that this is why you play the games, man. Nick Pivetta, by far better than Roki Sasaki. Randy Vasquez has been objectively better, even with my criticism, even with him maybe getting a little bit lucky, has been better than what Roki Sasaki has shown this year. Sometimes things go your way, what can I say? Or sometimes things don't go your way. At Ian0903 says, high school pitchers make the best trading chips. Yeah, this, of course, referring to Cruz Schoolcraft. I do wonder, they've taken a high school player, I think the last 9 or 10 seasons, in the first round, I should say. It wouldn't surprise me if they're about to ship this guy off like right now, for the deadline. Preller likes drafting high school, high upside guys and then using them as trade bait. We've seen it before. Maybe not this one because it is so new, but maybe he's gearing up for the next year to whatever he's going to trade, right? Who knows? At J7Odonoroff777 says Cease wants to stay in San Diego, even if it costs him money. I don't know where you're getting that from, buddy. Anyone else who feels that same opinion, I doubt that's true. It's Scott Boras. He's going wherever the money is. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. Let me be very clear. But I do think that Cease, it is true that he might be costing himself a little bit of something. We'll see how he does in the second half, but I don't know. And also, he would have to take a decent pay cut, I think, for the Padres to feel comfortable extending him. You know what I mean? Because on top of the Michael King thing, and on top of how much money they already have allotted in this roster, like, they're going to have to give him a decent amount. At RJPG says, Padre fan here, and I'm fairly new to this channel, less than 2 years. Saw a couple of crossovers with Millard and always gave good info on upcoming series between the Diamondbacks and Padres. So I was surprised he said he got harsh YouTube comments. Hope the best future for him. And then hopefully Tatis, Bogey stay more consistent as of lately and we get more runs. King should be getting back, at least I hope so, looking more to be more in the win column. As far as Cease, maybe trade bait, really disappointing. And lastly, you should be getting stronger as season comes along. LFGSD post All-Star game. I'll pass this along to Millard. Yeah, for those who don't know, Millard is done hosting Locked on Diamondbacks. He did get some mean comments every now and then. I do too. I enjoy a decent amount of them. I honestly, I think that I used to get a lot more because I was new and I didn't know enough about Padres history. I just kind of got on board the team for this show to cover them and whatnot. But he's great. He's great. Go send him some good words. Ben Kaspick, also of Locked On Giants, is leaving too. The NL West decimated. The supervillain Jeff Snyder of Locked On Dodgers even left. Crazy stuff, guys. Crazy stuff. But nonetheless, thank you for tuning into this show. And for people who have been tuning in for a long time. Or just a second. I don't care which one, frankly. Like, it's always great, all the support that you guys send. Any of us. Not just me, but any of the Locked On hosts. Trust me, I know them. They very much appreciate it. It always brightens our day. But that's about it. We have one more question comment thing that we're actually going to save for tomorrow from my guy Tony Sue talking about Gavin Sheets and disagreeing with me. So I figured we'll use that as a little bit of a topic for tomorrow's show, where we'll also do a game recap. And for this week, Wednesday's show, probably going to be pre-recorded. Probably going to talk about Harrison Bader. Going to talk about a fun little Chris Rose segment that he did on his podcast. Talking about Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, and Mike Trout, talking about them. Gonna do some pre-recorded stuff because I will be traveling, right? And I don't want to be recording as soon as I get to San Diego. I just think it'll be weird and a little bit of a hassle. So we're gonna have that, and also look forward to this week. Gonna have some special shows with the crew over at CBS 8 San Diego. So great week. I'm excited. And we're in the second half, baby. And we're very, very close to that trade deadline. We're like a week away, guys. Really, really nuts. But folks, until that next time, stay safe and, of course, stay faithful. My Friar Faithful homies, take care.